Brownstown Township Board meeting tonight, July 7th, 2025. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I could ask the clerk for roll call, please.
Supervisor Breeze,
Here.
Clerk Brinker here, Treasurer Ebert,
Here.
Trustee Allen,
Here.
Trustee Chapman,
Here.
Trustee Jones,
Here.
Trustee Killian.
Here.
Next, we have the minutes for the regular board meeting of June 16th, 2025.
Motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of June 16th.
Support.
Motion by Chapman, supported by Jones. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the agenda approval for tonight. May I have a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
Motion by Jones, supported by Chapman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, we have public forum. If you want to say anything to the Township Board, please come up and you have 3 minutes to do so. Mhm.
How are you guys today? Good afternoon.
Fine, thank you.
Hi, my name's Alan Marchena. I'm here today because I had made a police report to the township for Chief Jeff Watson for trespassing. He was told to not come back onto the property. When I got done with it, about a month later, he showed back up with his car that came onto the property. I made another report about this and nothing was taken. I had spoke to Deputy Chief Lafayette. He said that he would not send it to the prosecutor's office. I've made a couple complaints here today. I have them with me. I was going to ask and see if we could open a separate investigation over some of the allegations here for tonight.
Through the chair, if I may, I would encourage the board perhaps not to engage. There's been a threat of litigation. And so while we're able to receive information, we're not able to give information through this open meeting.
Okay. Do you have anything else to add to that, Mr.? Okay. All right. If you want to leave something with our attorney, you can. Thank you. Anyone else have anything to state? Please come up and state your name and address, please.
Justin Cole.
Justin Cole?
Yep, I live at 23729 Cora, which is just behind here.
Thank you.
I also have some very concerning issues. I'm a 35-year-old citizen here. Okay, I have 3 daughters that I'm raising in this community, and I've been dealing with Brownstown Police Station for a very long time.
Can you speak up?
I've been dealing with Brownstown Police Station for a very long time. I'm a business owner in this area. There's a couple gentlemen that's sitting in the pews behind me here that has been avoiding me for over 3 years now. And they're high up in the police station. That came with frivolous cases to defraud me and my wife and put us in a really bad way. It costing us tons of money to stay out of trouble. And I've been in contact with Jeff Watson as well. And he seems to be the person that's helping me as much as, anybody there will. I've been getting promises after promises, letdowns after letdowns. Meanwhile, I've been falsely arrested multiple times, and I have this recorded and all my stuff documented. And police officers just driving by my house. I have 3 daughters that are suffering from this, and I asked for an investigation to be opened up. For one, Mr. Starzak sitting back there, I want him to investigate it because he's avoided me for over 3 years, and he's brought a case with his wife that's Attorney General. To put my wife behind and put her in jail for something that she really didn't do. But the vengeance of how she came at my family is out of control. we see her in the downriver area, she is maliciously acting out of control to be despiteful to my family and my wife, which 3 daughters are obviously inheriting, seeing all this stuff. It's very concerning, especially with my daughter suffering really bad from seeing your guys' police cars driving around the city here, the township, and harassing us. I mean, I go to a car wash, I can't even pull the car wash without being harassed. I'm pulled over, and now to the point in the Brownstown Police Station parking lot on camera. I have tons and tons of false police reports made against me, and not one person's been held accountable for a false police report. However, I've been falsely arrested more times than I can count or even tell you here today. My daughters have seen this. My middle child is terrified that she's going to lose her dad, her mom. She won't even walk around the blocks here. Okay. I grew up here and I never had to feel that way. And there's something with your guys' police station that needs to be investigated ASAP. I'm reaching out for like desperately need. It's out of control. There's a lot of bad things going on in your police station. And it's not fair to the community to have to suffer from it.
Okay.
Through the chair,
Mr.
again, if we could
Robinette?
receive information, but we're not allowed to give any information during this open meeting opportunity.
Okay, so it's Justin Cox and you live in Cora?
Justin Cole.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Cole?
And may I ask a question?
I'll try to answer it if I can.
It may be directed towards me, perhaps,
Sure.
Madam Chair, after it's posed.
As a sworn in officer, especially with a chief or a sergeant, if I'm demanding to talk to them to figure out what I can do to stop something that I don't feel comfortable with, and they avoid me, is that something that is normal to you guys?
Mr. Robinette?
Again, we can receive questions, information. Public forum is not a time for the board to provide answer. It's not a dialogue. But we will gladly receive information, questions, documents, whatever, at this time. I just would encourage the board not to engage in dialogue during public forum time.
Can I
Okay.
ask the board what investigation be opened?
Did you hear that?
I did not hear that.
He asked what investigation could be opened. I don't believe we have the authority to investigate the police department.
I'm aware of some of the court cases
Right.
that he's referencing. For courtesy for all, I don't think we should discuss the details of them.
That would be great.
There is a civilian complaint process through the police department that's available to anybody. And beyond the Brownstown Police, there are higher authorities if someone feels led to do so. But because this has been in court, I would encourage the board to receive information at this time, perhaps forward it to proper authorities beyond the board, but I would encourage the board not to engage in a dialogue during public forum for anybody, frankly.
I have went that venue. I've went that route. Like Attorney General is almost the highest up as you can go, and that's Mr. Starzak's lovely wife. I can shoot anywhere and file those to hire people, and when it gets to her, it gets shot down and gets hidden. So that's the problem. There's a huge corruption going on in the city, and I gotta die fighting for it. I want to figure it out and get to the bottom of it, because it's not fair to anybody in this township to live like this. I'm not gonna live like this anymore. I can't. I've got over 60 cases, and you can imagine the attorney fees, and they're still going as of last 2 weeks ago. Okay. Where I'm paying attorney fees, and I'm a business owner, so this is embarrassing. It's my business to have to suffer from this to stay out of trouble. And guess what? Not one thing has been found to be true with me. I've literally got myself out of all my trouble that I've ever been in with Brownstown Township. I've had cases rigged and then found that cops were lying, rigging cases on me in court. I'm asking for somebody to help.
Okay. Have you submitted a complaint through our police department?
Yes, ma'am.
State police?
It goes nowhere.
You've submitted a complaint to our police department in Brownstown?
Multiple.
Have you submitted a complaint to the Michigan State Police?
Yep. And when I do that, they are not really willing to take a complaint. They
Okay.
have informed me Brownstown has a lot of issues
Okay.
and they don't want to handle it. So
All
but
right,
I
at this
do-
point, the attorneys heard what you said. We've heard what you said, and I will pass it along and see what we can do.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else for public forum? First item on the agenda is approval of consult services agreement with Santec for National Fish and Wildlife Foundation grant.
Motion to approve.
Or
Motion by Allen, supported by Chapman to approve the grant. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by
To the
saying,
chair, I would like to
sure. go
say
ahead.
something. Mr. Peters, that was a wonderful letter for your introductory on this. And what I was concerned about was the amount of the grant, which was $150,000. Is that correct?
Correct. The grant amount that we requested is $150,000.
And then the actual procedure would be millions of dollars? Is it 10 to 12 or something like that?
Sure. So I guess to back up a little, we've been talking about some of the issues that we've dealt with almost annually in the South End for many years relative to lakeshore flooding, erosion, other issues down there. Right now, if you live in Millville and Maple Beach, you're right on Lake Erie, and most of the residents can't get out to the lake. Between that, some of the sedimentation that's being deposited there, there's been all these ongoing issues, and to really address those issues, they're huge. They're huge, huge projects that have to be taken on. And so in the past, we've talked about them. We've heard people's concerns, but in order to go after the grant money for a project of that magnitude, I believe the estimate at this point is 8 to 10 million. But obviously, depending on the final project, that can change. In order to go after the grants that would give you that money, you have to have the project basically at least almost designed, plus a whole giant list of stakeholders that are ready to engage, which takes a lot of time and money. And unfortunately, there's no direct agency or people responsible for doing that stuff. So what this would do is this particular grant has different levels. This is the particular level allows us to build support for the project and come up with a project design. So that is what the $150,000 we estimate cost would be, is to do the design, build stakeholders. And then once that's completed, we'll be able to take that design and actually have something we can go after, a real project to address these concerns. So this is really a middle step that we've been missing for many years. This seemed like a good opportunity. There's a lot of federal funds right now available for lakeshore issues. And it's a good stepping stone to at least give us a case. And, at the end of the day, if we're not able to get the grant at first try, we'll at least have a design project that we can go after other funding sources in the future to try to have a solution to some of the problems they're experiencing down there.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, under the supervisor's report, a request to appoint Terrence Middleton to the DDA Development Area City Council to fill a vacancy with the term to expire June 2nd, 2027.
motion to appoint Terrence Middleton to the DDA Development Area Citizen Council.
Support.
Motion by Chapman, supported by Allen. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next, we have a request to accept the letter of retirement for Fire Lieutenant Mark Robbins.
Motion to accept the request of the retirement letter from Lieutenant Mark Robbins.
Support.
Motion by Chapman, supported by Killian. Discussion? Chief, is he old enough to retire?
He will be by August 31st.
Bless you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the request for promotion of Fire Sergeant Bacchus Gross to Lieutenant.
Motion to allow the promotion up to lieutenant of Mr. Gross.
Support.
Motion by Chapman, supported by Brinker. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a request to fill vacant firefighter position.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Brinker, supported by Chapman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, under the clerk's office, we have a budget amendment for 2025-15 to cover the cost of engineering services for the Township Hall parking lot in the amount of $3,000.
Motion to approve the budget amendment for the parking lot.
Motion by Chapman, support.
Support.
Supported by Jones. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a budget amendment 2025-16 to cover the cost of repairs and,
Through the chair. Can we get a roll call vote for that, please, for the budget amendments?
sure, roll call vote.
Chapman?
Yes.
Brinker, yes. Jones?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Killian?
Yes.
Hebert?
Yes.
Breeze?
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we have the amendment 2025-16 to cover the cost of repairs and maintenance needed for the splash pad in the amount of $1,597.15. Motion.
Motion to approve the budget amendment of
Mo-
2025-16 for the repair of the splash pad.
Motion by Chapman, support.
Support.
Support by Eberth. Discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Hebert?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Brinker, yes. Killian?
Yes.
Breeze?
Yes. Next, we have board information.
Motion to read and file. Support.
Motion by Killian, supported by Jones to accept the board information. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, under the treasurer's report, we have disbursements for July 7, 2025 in the amount of $1,874,223-67. Motion to
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Brinker, supported by Chapman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Roll-
Aye.
Oh, roll call
Roll call
vote.
vote.
I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry. I'm rushing through here. I don't mean to.
Killian?
Yes.
Allen?
Yes.
Brinker, yes. Jones?
Yes.
Hebert?
Yes.
Chapman?
Yes.
Breeze?
Yes. Next, we have the Recreation Department report. Approve a rental agreement for a mobile
Community
office.
Missed one.
services.
You missed
Community
one.
services.
Back up.
Community service.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry. Community Service Department, board information, please.
Read and file.
Support.
Motion by Allen, supported by Jones. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have the Recreation report. Approve a rental agreement for a mobile office from American Mobile Office and Container during the community center renovation in the amount of $21,900.
Motion to approve the rental agreement for the mobile office and for the rec department.
Motion by Chapman,
Support.
supported by Jones. Any discussion?
To the chair. Who,
Yeah.
who will be utilizing this?
The community center, when they're reinventing, when they're renovating the township or the community center.
Citizens will be utilizing it? Is that what we're saying?
No,
Employees are going to be utilizing it?
yes. And they
How
have
many
to
employees
store-
do we have over there now that utilize it daily?
It's not there.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Who's going to be using the trailer? Right?
Well, it's to store the, help me out, Mr. Peters. It's to store the,
Sure.
Matt's here.
So this will be just relocating our current staff from the building so they have office space. This will include the director, deputy director, our two office specialists, our senior services coordinator. I don't know if Rodney's around still at that time, our athletics coordinator. So in total, how many people do you think we have? Yeah, at least 6.
And then that's just for office space, is that correct? They're utilizing for office space?
Correct.
And we have nothing available in this building that they could utilize.
Oh, God.
I know it would be an inconvenience to walk over there, but
Not for that many people, no.
thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve Smart Bus for fiscal year 2025 and fiscal year 2026 specialized services contract for Brownstown Senior Transportation.
Motion to approve.
Mo-
Support.
Motion by Brinker, supported by Allen. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have board information.
Motion to read and file.
Motion by Killian, support
Support.
by Jones. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Finally, under Public Works, approve the purchase of water meters from ETNA in the amount of $178,920.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Allen, supported by Chapman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Looking for something really quick. Sorry. Under the Public Works, we have approve water and sewer rate increases. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Support?
Support.
Discussion. These are just the pass-through increases from the city, correct? The city of Detroit, though.
Yeah, these are all pretty much from DUA, GLWA, and Shuva. We
Right,
don't have any major purchases. We didn't upgrade anything from this year to next year.
right.
You know, it still maintains our water main projects and all that, but we have not added any major purchases, no big vehicles, just.
So it's just solely their increase to the township that we're passing on through to the residents. Thank you, I appreciate it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve to award Midwest Contracting Company, LCC, with the contract to renovate the animal shelter. Amen. Any approval, please?
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Brinker, supported by Chapman. Any discussion? When's it starting, Mr. Justin? Thank- Oh, we have a slow period back there. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the township manager update.
Good evening, everyone. So I appreciate the board's approval of the agreement with Stan Tech. The turnaround on these grants is pretty difficult. You know, we got approval of our first round about a week ago, almost 2 weeks now. The full proposal with all of the data and everything is due 10 days from now. So they don't really give us much time. So we're hustling now, and we'll be over the next 10 days to get this in. And are hoping, we think we have a good project here that would be very beneficial, not just to our residents, but really to the region. And that's something they really look at when they evaluate these proposals. We're hoping this can be a good regional project that improves the ecology of that area, as well as provides some good benefits for our residents. So we'll keep you updated as we go through that process. Our assessing department this year had the pleasure of being audited, which they do from time to time every few years. We got through the process great. We passed it and were deemed substantially compliant, which is their term for a good grade. We had nothing on there that we have to do any corrective actions on. There was only one little note on criteria for low-income tax exemption that we were already aware of. So no findings or anything there. So wanted to give kudos to our assessing department, to Jen Stamper, our assessor, and to Scott and Bernadette in that office who all do a great job. Wanted to talk a little bit about roads. We haven't talked too much about roads recently and wanted to give you an update on where we're at on some of the projects that are in our community. First, the county project that has been ongoing for at least a year and a half now at Van Horn and Arsenal. The traffic signals at that intersection were installed late winter, early spring, basically as soon as the ground was thawed, and have sat there since. The next phase of the project is to widen the intersection and make some other road improvements there. That still has to be done. I believe the county had requested the contractor to hold off until the school year was over, so that because it would interrupt Waginka down the street. School's out now, and so I haven't driven down that way in the last week or so, but I expect work to be beginning shortly because they'll need to get that done prior to them going back into school. So that'll be a nice project. Once they get the widening done, the traffic signal will be activated, and hopefully that provides a safer intersection for people traveling through that area. The other road-related item is the township paving initiative that the county reinstated this year. The board approved a support for opting into the program. We've applied for a grant. I've been told verbally that we'll be receiving $1 million to be used on local township roads, and that intergovernmental agreement would be presented to us for this board's approval. And I am waiting to receive that agreement so I can present it to you for approval. As soon as we get that, we'll come up with a plan of, we already have applied to what roads will be done, but a plan of how it's being funded, where the matching funds are coming from, and present that to the board for your approval. So waiting on the county to give us that IGA to approve, but hoping that we can get that done as a fall road project. The other notable road project that we'll be starting, so the county predominantly pays for roads using federal money. And in order to award those projects, they have to be approved by a federal aid committee, which is headed by the county and made up of 42 of the 43 communities in Wayne County. City of Detroit has their own. That committee meets later this week. On the agenda for them is including a resurfacing of Allen Road from King to Sibley on their 2026 plan for next year. So that's on there. I trust it will be approved, and look forward to seeing some more road improvements in our community. But that'll be something for next year to keep an eye out for. Last week, had a chance to meet with the contractor on site at our pickleball courts. Matt joined me out there, as well as Melinda from MC Smith, who was the one that's designing it and is overseeing the project. I can confirm they have officially broken ground. The site's being excavated. I didn't look at it today, but the plan is to get it completely demolished, staked for construction. There's a little bit of earthwork that needs to be done first because of some retention pond areas. I raised the, I don't want to say concern, but wanted to make sure that we were going to line up well with some of the events we have coming up, namely with our summer festival, wanting to understand what will be available and what the site's going to look like. The contractor anticipates having the parking areas completed and everything pretty well completed except for the pickleball courts themselves, which will come shortly after Summerfest ends to avoid any conflicts with fireworks lighting off nearby. But we anticipate, at least the contractors reporting that they'll be poured in hopefully the last couple weeks of August, if not early September. And then it'll just be a matter of waiting the necessary curing time before we can apply the acrylic surface, letting that acrylic surface be on. But by this fall, we will have a completed pickleball court project. And so I'm hoping that'll be in time for some decent weather. Although I have a feeling that people that play pickleball won't pay too much attention to the weather and will come out anyway. But we'd like to get it as much playability on there as we can this year. So looking forward, we're doing every 2 weeks meeting with the contractor to make sure we're on task, make sure there's no hiccups. And so we'll continue to work through that. Obviously, weather can play a factor in construction schedules, so we'll keep an eye on that too and update the board as needed. The community center construction project is also going to begin very soon here. We have a meeting on Thursday with the contractor to really serve as a kickoff to go through all those last minute items of what we need to do. We're talking now about logistics, where they're going to need to set up for equipment, for goods, for supplies, for things like that. Obviously, we talked a little bit about the temporary relocation of staff into the trailer. So that's being accommodated for. And the purpose with that trailer is it will, if we don't have to phase the project, anticipate that it could shave 2 to 3 months off of the timeline and possibly have some savings as well. So nothing that we can promise, but something that I think works in our favor to do that. So working with them, we're also working with SIDOC is designing as a DDA project the reconstruction of the parking lot in front of the community center and the expansion of that parking lot going toward King Road, kind of curving around the park area in Thorne Park. So this, along with the community center, along with pickleball, is all being coordinated to make sure where the lanes are installed, where the pedestrian crossings are, all make sense and are all lined up. So it's something that we've put them all in touch with each other to coordinate that. And so hopefully at the end of all of these projects, we end up with a nice cohesive new part of the campus. Just to put this a little bit in perspective, pickleball we've been talking about for a couple years. The community center renovation we've talked about for probably 7 years. It was before COVID, I know that.
60, 90 days.
The parking realignment was originally conceived in the first DDA campus project that was just never gotten to. So about 13 years ago or so. So, we're going through some of the aches and pains of construction. But this is really the fruition of a lot of projects that have been plans for a long time that we're now going to see actually in the ground, benefiting our residents and benefiting, our community. So I'm sure we'll have some hurdles still to come, but we'll see some good progress there this summer and this fall, and some nice facilities for people to enjoy. Speaking of other facilities that people enjoy, we had incident in our splash pad last week that I'll just briefly mention. We had what looks like a pump malfunction that caused some pretty significant damage to some of the plumbing in the pump house. We've had a plumbing company out there who is assisting us with repairs. We need to get those repairs in place for us to really make sure that we can totally diagnose the problem, make sure there's nothing else that was damaged. It's something that's going to take a little bit of time. On the agenda tonight was a budget amendment that at the time that was submitted, we didn't know the depth of the damage that was done. You will see another budget amendment at likely your next meeting requesting additional funds being moved because it will be quite a costly repair. So we're looking at that now, trying to make sure we understand what went wrong so that we can make sure it's fixed properly. But we're likely to see potentially up to, and I'm hoping this is supposed to be a maximum number, up to about 2 weeks that it'll be closed. It was pretty significant damage, and frankly, I'm glad that nobody was in the pump house when it happened. It could have been bad. So we're working on it and trying to get it up and running, but there was some substantial damage done. So I hate to end on a bad note. I didn't mean for that to happen, but with that being said, that completes my report.
To the supervisor,
Sure.
on the splash pad, I know we've talked about it. Are we going to seriously perhaps consider, rather than treating the water, which creates, all the chemicals you have to use that break down equipment, just the nature of the beast, to a fresh water dispose of, and you spend more money on water, but you don't have the equipment to concern. Is that something that we might look at down the road?
That is something we definitely are talking about. Right now, our system is a pretty elaborate system for a splash pad. As far as how we get certified, it's treated like any public pool. We have to monitor it constantly, monitor chemical levels. Chemicals, it obviously makes your system more complex, which is more things that can go wrong. The chemicals, do things to equipment. Yeah, I think there is a cost to that because of the cost of water. Now that instead of recycling it, you're running more of it. We would have to redo, a lot of how that's routed. We'd have to make sure that water gets somewhere out, out of the splash pad. We've talked about it though, because I think going forward, that's probably the better route. We're not in the business of professional pool people, and it's a nice splash pad. We really, love the facility, but it is very complicated. In the Parks Master Plan that was approved a couple years ago, there was thought of potentially a future expansion, adding like a little kid area to the splash pad so you can separate, the smaller kids from the older kids. That's something we've talked about. At that point, maybe we look at renovating the whole system and making it a little simpler. So rather than having a complex system, we're dealing just with water coming in, some pumps to get to the equipment, and water flowing out. I'm hoping that would mean less maintenance, because we do spend a substantial lot of money in just maintaining what we have there. But it's such a nice facility. It's something that we know is a benefit to the community, but something we could probably improve in the future.
Any other questions? I have a question. The parking lot at the community center, are we taking that little circle thing out of the front of the building and making it more
We're
closer to the,
looking at
door.
redesigning all of that.
so we can take all that out?
Yeah, so we don't have a final design or anything yet, but that does pose, I guess it's wasted space a little
It
bit.
has been for many
And
years.
so we're looking at, one, that the area that where the flagpoles are,
Mhm.
integrating that into the parking a little differently so that
Okay.
it drains better.
Right.
We're looking at really changing that whole entryway and adding better pedestrian connections. Right now, you have the sidewalk that runs down closer to the baseball field. You have the other side that goes back toward the dumpster, but there's nothing, if you're in the parking lot, there's not like a nice safe way with islands and pedestrian crossings to get there. So we're looking at safety, we're looking at landscaping, we're looking at, making that nicer and safer for everybody.
Thank you. Anything else? For board awareness, just a friendly reminder that the Township Hall is now open Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we are closed on Fridays. So remember, if you have any township business to be here, come Monday through Thursday, 7 to 5. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Support.
Motion by Chapman, supported by Jones. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.